you guys doing? We're here today with the guys from Ideal Automotive and Truck Accessories out here in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to be doing a quick demo introducing frictionless metal treatment out into the market. It is a new friction modifier. It's an additive you're going to add to your oil to reduce wear and tear in your engine by about 60 to 70%. And we're here with John today. How you doing, John?
Good.
All right. We're going to go ahead and start our demo. Basically what we have here, as I mentioned, is a friction tester. We're going to go ahead and test the lubrication properties of your standard conventional oils that you can pick up at your auto parts store, and then we're going to compare it as well to the frictionless additive. Okay? What we're working with here is very simple. What we have here is a race, a Timken race, rotating at about 1700 RPMs. Okay? Then we've got a bearing from a Fuller transmission sitting in this cradle. Okay? We're going to apply the load pressure to that, or a load bearing to that, and we're going to see how long we can go ahead and last without, and see how much damage we actually do to that bearing. First thing we're going to look at is how many pounds we can put on this torque wrench before we see that electric motor. Second thing we're going to look at is how much damage we do to that bearing. Okay? And third thing we want you to look at is the amps. The larger the load bearing, the more work this motor has to do. Okay? Because of friction. The better the lubrication, the less work this has to do, because now we're lubricating properly. You guys understand? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the first one. John, we're pretty much clean on that bearing right there, right? No damage whatsoever? And now at 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 25 pounds. 25 pounds, we've seized the motor, there's actually smoke coming out, and we've done quite a bit of damage to that bearing, as you guys can see right there. See that, John? Okay. Now we're going to put a clean spot on that bearing. Now obviously motors don't run dry, so we're going to have to add a lubricant at this point. We're going to add an oil pan. We're going to go ahead and add Pennzoil. You said you wanted to try?
Let's try Pennzoil.
Okay. We're adding Pennzoil until we get a nice bead of oil on that race. Okay, John, this time I want you to do it for me. I want you to go ahead and push down gradually on that. Okay. Hold on there. Hold on. We're at 25 pounds with the Pennzoil. Keep going. 30 pounds. Keep going. 35. 35 pounds with the Pennzoil. Okay? And John, we've obviously done more damage. Some damage there. Not nearly as much as we did when we were dry, but still considerable damage on that bearing, correct? Correct. All right, good deal. We're going to rotate the bearing. Clean my hands a little bit. And now we're going to move on to our product. Okay, the name of our product is Frictionless Metal Treatment. The difference between this product and many other products out there is that most other products will try and better the quality of your oil. With our product, we don't want to better the quality of your oil. What we want to do is use the oil as a transport system to get to that metal. Once it reaches the metal, it will adhere to the metal and treat that metal to reduce friction. And as we know, if we reduce friction, we reduce heat, and we reduce thermal breakdown on the engine. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a little bit of frictionless here. We're going to use the same bearing, the same race. As you can see, it's a very light product. It's not thick and gunky like some of the other additives out there. It contains no Teflon, it's got no moly, it's got no graphite in it, no silicone. Okay, we're just going to add it right into the oil. We're going to treat that bearing a little bit. John, are we clean on that bearing?
We are clean.
Okay. I want you to go and start applying pressure. Okay? We are already at 25 pounds. And the first thing that you notice is that there's no sound whatsoever on that. Keep going for me, John. We are now at 40 pounds. Wow. And we still have no sound on that bearing. The motor's still running. How many amps are we running at, John?
About 4.
About 4 amps. 4.5. This motor is scheduled to run at 4.5 amps. So we barely even jumped up on the amps because we're lubricating so efficiently that this motor doesn't have to work any harder. Keep going for me, John. Keep going. Keep going, John. John, how many pounds are we at?
About 70.
70. Keep going, John. 80 pounds. Keep going, John.
100.
We're at over 100 pounds of pressure, and we still haven't seized that motor. Now, if we take a look at the bearing, John, if you can come over here and kind of describe what you see. What do you see right there, John?
About 10% of the damage compared to anything else.
About 10% of the damage compared to anything else, maybe less. Now, we're going to zoom in here a second so we can show you guys on camera. We've got damage at 25 pounds with no lubrication, at about 35 to 40 pounds with oil, and very, very little damage, almost a mirror-like finish with frictionless products. Okay, that's how our product works, and that's how it protects your metals. Now we're going to address dry starts, because everybody knows that we do a lot of damage to these engines when we dry start. All your oil is down in your oil pan. When you turn that, when that starter's turning that engine, but that engine's kind of running dry until that oil pump shoots the oil up. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to turn our machine back on. I'm going to take another napkin. Okay, we're going to clean that bearing. Now we have to keep in mind that with oil we seize that motor at 35, and dry we seize it at about 25.
No oil pan?
Go ahead. How many pounds are we at?
50, 45, 50.
45, 50 pounds. We are at 60 pounds. We're bone dry. What does the amp meter say?
4.5.
About 4.5. So we are also protecting against dry starts, drastically protecting against the damage that you do during dry starts. Okay? Bring it on up. You brought more than 60 pounds load dry on that. How much damage did you see there, John?
No more than the last time, doesn't look like.
Minimal. If anything, it's very minimal. That's one other thing that the product does for you. And finally, you guys got a little bit of water around there anywhere, by any chance?
Yes, we do.
No? I'll tell you what, we'll skip the water if you guys don't have water. We're going to go to something that's
Sound
a
like
lot...
a commercial.
Yep. We're going to go to something... You got a little bit of water there? Perfect. Here we go. You blow your head gasket and you get a little bit of water in your oil. Now we know that water in the oil makes oil lose its lubrication properties, or its properties of lubrication rather. We get a big sludge thing going there. Go ahead. No, we still have no squealing even though we got water in there. Okay. I'm going to do the last thing for you. Brake cleaner. Brake cleaner is a lot more corrosive toward oil. It breaks oil down a lot worse than gas does. So if you crack an injector and you flood the head of your piston with gas for whatever reason, you guys can see we're putting quite a bit of brake cleaner in there. If that was standard oil or some kind of regular oil, you wouldn't be able to lubricate anymore because that brake cleaner would have eaten that oil up. It basically broke the oil down. How many pounds are you at?
60.
You're over 60 pounds.
4.5.
We're still at 4.5. Keep going if you like.
70.
Bring it on up. How much damage do you see on that bearing?
No more.
Little to none. So that's what we have, folks. Frictionless metal treatment. It's a metal treatment for your engine, for your gears, transmission, differential. Anywhere you've got metal on metal contact and you're using oil as a lubricant, you can go ahead and add our product. Thank you very much.